Poor little girl sang while cleaning the millionaire's Mustang. When he heard her, he started crying. It was the kind of morning that wore its chill like a warning. The sun hadn't quite pushed past the gray clouds, and the wind whispered through the silent, gated neighborhoods of Westwood Hills like it knew it didn't belong. Among the pristine streets and gleaming homes, a small figure moved quietly, barely noticeable, except for the soft humming that followed her wherever she went. Her name was Lily, just 12 years old, with oversized gloves and second-hand shoes that squeaked when she walked. Her job was simple: clean cars. But not just any cars. These belonged to the rich and powerful. This morning, it was a jet-black Ford Mustang Shelby GT 500, the pride of one of the richest men in the city, Mr. Grant Holden. Grant Holden was a man carved from marble. Cold, hard, successful. A self-made tech mogul, he had everything. A mansion on the hill, private jets, and a Mustang he rarely even drove. Since losing his wife to cancer 2 years ago, he'd buried himself in work and wealth, turning more inward with every passing day. He didn't believe in charity. He didn't believe in much anymore. Lily didn't know his story. She only knew that this driveway was her next stop and this Mustang was her next task. She set down her bucket and began scrubbing, her breath misting in the air. And then, almost without realizing it, she started to sing. It was a habit she'd picked up from her mother, who used to hum lullabies while working double shifts as a nurse. The song was old and sweet, "You Are My Sunshine," the tune trembling a little but pure, like it came straight from her heart. Inside the house, Grant was seated in his office, eyes dead on the screen, when the sound reached him. It started as a faint thread of melody, barely distinguishable above the wind. He almost ignored it. But something about the voice. Raw, honest, cut through the walls he'd built so carefully. He stood, walked to the window, and looked out. There she was. A little girl, scrubbing the side of his Mustang, her body small and thin beneath an oversized hoodie, her hands red from the cold, and her face tilted up as she sang like the world depended on it. Grant froze. That song, it had been his wife's favorite. She'd sung it to their unborn daughter before the cancer took her, before the baby was lost too. The memories hit him like a wave, of a hospital room filled with fading hope, of a hand he held until it let go. And now, out of nowhere, a stranger's voice was bringing it all back. He stepped outside. Lily didn't see him at first. She kept working, singing, her voice stronger now as she reached the chorus. But when she finally turned and saw him, tall, stern, watching, she jumped, her sponge slipping from her hand. I am sorry," she stammered, backing away. "I didn't mean to be loud." Grant said nothing. His eyes were wet, his lips trembling slightly. He took a deep breath. "What's your name?" "Lily, sir." He nodded. "How old are you?" 12. He looked at the thinness of her jacket, the holes in her sneakers. "Where are your parents?" "My mom passed away last year." "Dad, he's trying. He works nights. I help out." Something inside Grant cracked. He had built his empire on algorithms and efficiency, but none of that could explain the feeling that now bloomed in his chest, a mix of sorrow, admiration, and something he hadn't felt in years, hope. "You sing beautifully," he said quietly. "Thank you," Lily whispered, unsure whether to be proud or afraid. Grant walked to the car and picked up the sponge she had dropped. "Come on," he said gently. "Let's finish this together." She stared at him in disbelief, then nodded. For the next 20 minutes, they worked side by side, man and girl, millionaire and orphan, not saying much, but somehow understanding everything. When they were done, Grant led her inside, gave her warm cocoa, and asked her questions about school, about her dreams. She wanted to be a music teacher someday, she said, so other kids could feel the way she did when she sang, like the world still had beauty, even if it didn't always feel fair. Grant reached for his checkbook, then stopped. No, this wasn't about writing a check. This was about connection. He made a few calls. By the end of the week, Lily was enrolled in a music program at a private school, tuition paid in full. Her father was offered a stable job at one of Grant's companies. And every Sunday, Lily returned to the mansion, not to work, but to sing. Sometimes, it was just for Grant. Sometimes for his guests. But always with the same unfiltered joy that had first brought her into his world. Word spread, of course. The story of the poor girl with the golden voice and the grieving man whose heart she helped heal. People started seeing Grant differently. Less like a machine, more like a man trying to find his way back. He began funding music programs across the city, inspired by Lily's spark. His life, once driven by profit, now found purpose in people. And as for Lily, she sang not just for herself anymore, but for her mother, her father, for every child who needed to believe their voice could be heard, even in the richest, coldest corners of the world. In the end, it wasn't the Mustang or the mansion that defined that morning. It was a little girl's song, simple, unpolished, and full of light, that reached a heart locked in sorrow and taught it to feel again. Because sometimes, the smallest voice carries the biggest miracle.